What's up, guys? This is Aaron. We're back for the 2024 college football season, week 1. If you've been following on Twitter, already a couple of plays that hit tonight. Had a live bet in the Georgia Tech Florida State game. That one 3-0 so far, not too bad. We got quite a few to go here, so we're just going to rapid fire for week 1. These lines have been out for, going on 2 months or so. So no need to, delve too far into the week 1 games. We'll start that next week. All right, let's see. For tomorrow, we got Syracuse minus 14. It's up to 17.5, 18.5 now. So basically, Kyle McCord comes in for Syracuse, new offensive coordinator. New head coach, Fran Brown, comes from Georgia, so he's got that physical pedigree. Their DC they just hired came from A&M, kind of the same situation there from the SEC. You've got their running back, Allen's a 1,000-yard guy. They brought in an all Mountain West wide receiver. They brought in the tight end, Arondé Gadsden, comes back from injury. He had over 900 yards 2 seasons ago. So plenty of returning firepower for Syracuse. On the other hand, Ohio returns 6 starters total, 2 on offense, 4 on defense. They lose Rourke. He transfers to Indiana. Number 2 all-time passer is gone now. They lost their top 3 tacklers with almost 300 tackles total. 20 tackles for loss, 6 interceptions. 9 of their top 12 tacklers are gone. Let's see. They lost their backup quarterback, top 6 wide receivers. I could go on. But in this case, you've got Syracuse with a little bit of SEC pedigree going on. And then you've got Ohio, it's a MAC team that lost pretty much everything. So let's take Syracuse. The 17.5 will be fine. The next one is Virginia Tech, minus 12.5. I think it's up to 13.5 now against Vandy. Okay, it's at Vandy. But Virginia Tech, they bring back 20-plus starters. Kyron Drones, the quarterback, is back. He's a kind of a dual-threat guy. Vandy, Clark Lee's done a reasonable job in the transfer portal era. But anybody who's anybody on Vandy leaves. The quarterback's gone. The backup quarterback's gone. So they bring in Diego Pavia from New Mexico State. He was pretty good there for a lower-level team, sure. So let's just take Virginia Tech. This is another one of those cases where you're taking a team that's got a lot of returning production that is proven against a team that is pretty much just getting gutted year in and year out. Let's see, another one, Kent State plus 24.5. I think it's down to 24 now. That's okay. We'll take that. So basically, Pitt has sort of a rivalry game next week against Cincinnati on week 2. Pitt, new quarterback. It's either going to be Eli Holstein or Nate Yarnell. Yarnell's played a little bit of football. Eli Holstein comes from Alabama, where he was buried on the depth chart, 4th or 5th guy. So he's out, transferred to Pitt. As far as Kent State goes, they were extremely gutted last year. New head coach, new everything. Their best players are going off to, bigger schools to compete. So this year they have 9 on offense and 4 on defense back. So that's 13 total. That's not too bad compared to last year. Ulatowski's the quarterback. He had a 7-2 ratio. That's pretty good. He played a little bit of football last year. They returned 4 starters on the offensive line, so I do believe that they can score a few, 14, 17, something like that. And I think that even if Pitt does get a little bit of a blowout going on, they probably rest some starters. And as far as the quarterback situation goes, I really don't think they're going to be too explosive. Their defensive line is not quite what it was in years past. Like, for example, when they won the ACC conference a few years ago. So let's go ahead with Kent State plus 24. So I'll just tell you one, BC plus 17. I got it at 21 when it first came out. The line was up during the Florida State Georgia Tech game. Obviously, trying to react a little bit ahead of time to Florida State kind of struggling in that game. You know, they're going to win probably by double digits, but in my case, you know, getting 3 touchdowns with Castellanos as a mobile quarterback, you know, they can do a little bit that Georgia Tech did, you know, and hopefully hang in there. At the 17, you know, you kind of lost a little too much value, but especially if you can get a live line that's something like, you know, 2021 with Boston College, I'd probably take that. Let's see, a little bit of rapid fire here. Louisville, I think it's minus 37 now against Austin Peay. Austin Peay's gutted. They lost the coach. They lost a bunch of players, brought in a bunch of transfers. They only have 2 returning starters that actually started for them last year. Their new head coach, he's 34 years old, you know, and kind of a newbie in the game. They returned 1 of their top 14 tacklers from last season. Louisville brings in Tyler Shuck. They got an All-American receiver from South Alabama coming in. You know, last year they beat Murray State 56-0, so you do know that early on they are willing to run the score up a little bit and cover numbers. Let's see. Memphis minus 38.5. I mean, this number is good. You know, probably 42 against North Alabama. They beat them a couple of years ago. I think it was 59-0, something like that. So Memphis is also a team that's willing to run the score up early. They do have Troy next week. I don't think that they'll particularly put the, you know, the backups in too early. You know, the starting quarterback's back. You know, they got plenty back. Whereas with North Alabama, it's kind of a bottom feeder FCS school. They got, you know, the starting quarterback last week for SEMO. He was out, I think, like the second quarter around halftime. North Alabama is in the game, and then even with the backup quarterback, SEMO takes off and beats them 37-15. So they lost by 22, you know, to another FCS school. So, you know, Memphis can probably double that. So let's go with Memphis there. Let's see. Also looking at, I'll give you one more. Iowa under 40.5. This one, Memphis and Louisville. You should be able to find this at a legal shop. Offshore, not so much right now. You know, Iowa unders. Let's just go with that. All right, so let's see how this turns out. We'll get back to it next week. If I got anything else, you know, I'm posting this on Twitter. I will put my Twitter handle in the description. You know, if you like what you hear, you make a little bit of money, whether you tell or fade, you know, like the video, subscribe, share it, follow me on Twitter. You know, we're also in the Discord if you want a link to the Discord. All right, let's cash some tickets, guys.